All right, pre-show shenanigans for this episode. Finished up House of the Dragon, became obsessed with it. So, of course, naturally, as a man who hasn't seen Game of Thrones, I had to start that. So, what we're gonna be doing, pre-show for, I'm assuming probably won't be that long because I'll probably finish the show pretty quickly. But pre-show, whenever I finish a season of Game of Thrones, I'm gonna be giving my recaps of the season, predictions, like maybe if there's like a king. Well, right now we know Joffrey's king. Should have also said spoiler warning, but I mean everyone's seen the show by now except me. So I know Joffrey's on the throne now, but in future seasons that might be up for debate and give predictions on who I think will be king and stuff like that.
It is the Game of Thrones, so
Yeah. I mean, I can give my prediction now, like maybe if there are in this segment, what if I think there'll be like a throne change or something.
okay.
But okay, yeah. Recap season 1. First things first, the first 5 to 6 episodes of Game of Thrones are boring as shit. They suck.
Politics.
Extremely boring, really boring, and painful to get through. But like once you get through, like it really comes down to dragon heart eating scene, pouring the gold on Viserys. not House of Dragon Viserys, little shitty brother Viserys, him pouring gold on his head, which I thought was silver. Thank you for correcting me. But once that happened, then the show picked. Then like I was like, okay, this is actually good now. Also want to say, the king dying. So I wasn't really quite paying attention, but obviously the Lannisters like killed him, right? He didn't have an accident.
He got gorged while they were out on a.
Was it actually an?
It was actually an accident. He got gorged by like a bull or something. Whatever they were hunting.
Dude, no way. I'll be honest, I wasn't really watching that closely, but okay. I was kind of under the impression watching the show as if the Lannisters killed him and like set him up or like left him.
I mean, they could have paid off the bull or whatever. I mean, it's always possible.
Oh, okay, so they did. All right. But okay. I just thought even then, my point's even better now. That was a bullshit way for the king to die. That was just like, what? Just all of a sudden, the middle of episode 7, like, oh, the king's dying. Like, what? Just random, sudden. I was like, I knew this king was about to drop any second. Like, that guy was so irrelevant. Just like when I look at the Game of Thrones cast now, that guy's not even anywhere to be seen. So I knew he was about to drop any second, but I didn't expect it to be like that. Like that was like a poorly written death. Like we can be more creative than that, guys. We could be a little better than that. All I'm saying. But maybe the point is, this guy's a really irrelevant and meaningless king, so he gets an off-screen like bullshit stupid death, so you don't really care, and it means he's not important. Maybe that was it. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at it too hard. But yeah, the stupid death. But anyway, when King Joffrey, oh my god, I'm not necessarily saying the actor, but the writing to make me hate him is great. When he makes Sansa,
the best part. The best
Sansa
part about
look at his dad's head, her dad's head, like that just shows
Game
like
of Thrones,
how fucked
Game
up
of
this
Thrones
dude
does a
is,
really good job of making you hate people. They write it really well.
I honestly, I don't necessarily think that dude's a great actor. I actually think when I like first heard about him years ago, I started hating him because I thought he was such a shitty actor. But whatever. I don't really care much about that. But yeah, the writing makes me hate him so much. Great shit, Game of Thrones. End of season 1, my big shock was I didn't expect the dragons to hatch at the end of season 1. I thought those things weren't going to hatch for a while. And the reason I'm saying that is because I remember hearing like memes and jokes when the show was going on like years ago, like, where the fuck are the dragons? George R.R. Martin, show us the dragons. So when I heard all those jokes, I was under the impression like these things aren't hatching until like season 5. I was wrong, but also because I'm aware that people are complaining about the dragons, I'm just going to go on a limb and say these things don't do shit until like season 7. So yeah, just going to go on a limb and say that.
I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, no, I don't want any spoilers from you. but everyone watching the show knows what happens, so you can see me just be stupid and get every prediction incorrect. Other thing, this was based off a fan theory that I saw. So the whole dragon hatch, like Khal Drogo death, kill the witch voodoo person, everything. So when that whole thing happens, once again, I'm not watching the show very closely, but everyone has their own interpretation, and this is mine, and I don't care what anyone thinks. This is how I'm going to watch the show. So witch body, Khal Drogo's body, and those 3 dragon eggs are all getting burnt together in that weird little voodoo witchcraft magic things. Don't nod your head. That's what happened. That's how I remembered it. All those things are getting burnt.
The theory is not right.
Wait, but did they all get burnt together? Like, was that correct?
Yes, they all got burnt together.
Point stands. Then my theory stands. They're all getting burnt together. They're all getting burnt to a crisp. They're all like dead and shit. You see Amelia Clark. I butchered the name, so I just call her by the actor. Amelia Clark walks in to the fire pit, and then like the scene cuts or whatever, go to something else. I forget, whatever. Come back, and you see Amelia Clark with the 3 dragons hatch, like sitting there, naked. And you know, some people, I'm gonna throw in that detail, but yeah, you see her with the 3 dragons hatched, and that's it. Nothing. Everything else is burnt ashes. Nothing else remains. You don't see any sign of the witch doctor Khal Drogo's body, none of that shit. So the only conclusion I could make of that is in those 3 dragons, Khal Drogo's spirit, his soul, the Drogo spirit, is in one of those fucking dragons. I don't know any of those dragon names.
Drogon. They have one that's named Drogon. They have one that's named Drogon. Okay.
Okay, some similarities maybe, but I'm not even looking at that detail. But just from seeing that, from my first once again, my interpretation, Everett, not yours. I watch Game of Thrones how I want to watch it. This is how I'm gonna see the show. One of those dragons, to be determined. I'll have to make my decision on that later. I haven't got the context clues yet on that.
You'll have to get back to us when you determine who has.
We'll have to get back which dragon is Khal Drogo. Everett's hinting that it's Drogon.
I'm hinting that it's none of them, but yes.
Nope. You are, by telling. I'm kind of expecting you in season 6 to be like, "Yep, you stupido. It was the dragon, you dummy. I knew you kind of thought that, but you didn't." And I
no.
No, I know how this is gonna work out. But yeah, that dragon is Khal Drogo. And yeah, this has kind of been taken a second. So last thing I want to say, my prediction, not necessarily for next season, but Sophie Turner, Sansa Stark will kill King Joffrey 100%. Or maybe not directly kill, but will have a large role in his death. 100%. That's my predictions. Yeah. If not, then I'm going to hate that character a lot. Because right now, the way they're building her up, she has a lot of potential to really be like a good character if she turns on Joffrey. But we'll see. I don't know.
We'll be coming back to this.
So I'm going to be honest. The way you react to that, I don't know if I'm either completely wrong or dead accurate. I have no idea what you just told me with your reaction to that. So yeah, but yeah, that's my season 1 Game of Thrones recap. Season 2 recap will be up.
Okay, so who do you think is going to be on the throne next?
After Joffrey, I haven't put much thought into this, but I guess immediately after, I'm gonna guess it's a somewhat irrelevant character that maybe I don't know yet, and or isn't really like that big.
Okay.
I haven't really put much thought into it, to be completely. All right. I don't think Joffrey will die this season, is my prediction. I don't think he's going to die this season.
You just finished season 1. Is not dead.
Season 2. I mean, season 2, I don't think he's going to die. I think we're going to get a little bit more of Joffrey being an asshole. I don't think there's going to be a throne shift season 2. That's my prediction.
Alrighty. Okay.
I'll have to look into that more. I need these context clues, Everett. I don't know. I don't know who would be next. Because it's definitely not going to be one of his kids. Okay. I'm actually going to... Okay, last prediction. there may only be one kingdom where it actually goes from father or mother to next in line. I feel like that might only happen like once. I feel like it's going to be replacing and killing and overtaking thrones for most of these kingship changes. That's going to be my guess.
Game of Thrones.
I guess technically we already have had one with Joffrey taking over, but we know that Joffrey's not his kid. So hey, it's a lot to go around. But yeah, okay. All right, let's talk about sports now. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Waterboy Podcast. Today it is episode number 61. 61. What a weekend of sports! What a weekend of football! It's officially spooky season. We're recording this on Halloween, on Monday, October 31st. Get all those spooky demons
Happy
out.
Halloween.
I got my spook out watching Ohio State versus Penn State over the weekend. But
I got
Everett,
mine watching the Vikings.
But Everett, more importantly, our favorite sports team combined finally got their first one of the season. That's right. The Los Angeles Lakers beat the Denver Nuggets last night by double digits. Like, I mean, it was Sunday night.
And
there was other stuff to watch, but I checked the app. I was like, wait, what?
They celebrated like it was their NBA finals.
I mean, hey, Nuggets are a good basketball team. And you know what? I'll be the classic overly optimistic, ambitious Laker fan for this. Yeah, like we're still gonna win the ship this year. Like, I don't care if we can't shoot, like we play with heart. And that's what matters. Like, that's how you win basketball games, not shooting. So yeah, like we're fine. I got no worries. But yeah, great weekend for the Lakers. Finally got their first win. But all right, college football, Everett. No better way to start this off than with my college football recap. I'm gonna be honest. I want to talk a lot more about the NFL today than college football because I have some Ohio States I obviously have to talk about. But
let's run through your college football recap, and then I'm going to let you start Ohio State of the Union so I can go and grab my food, and then I'll come back.
Okay. I also want to hear what you think about that Kansas State win over the weekend. But okay.
Oh, I will give it to you. All right, we ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Ohio State pulled away late from Penn State with the help of JT Tuimoloau. Michigan proved why they are big brother. And from an Ohio State fan, fuck you, Sparty, and your soft-ass program for beating up on that Michigan player in the tunnel. Georgia and Florida got a little bit close, but the dog stepped on Florida's throats and kept control. Rocky Top is still buzzing after throttling the living shit out of Kentucky. Kansas State embarrassed Oklahoma State 48-0. Notre Dame picked up a big road win over number 6 in Syracuse, and Texas A&M is beyond pathetic.
So it's right about on the dot.
Good. I try to get more info in there, try to get more stuff.
Still needed to be a little bit more like improv, like not reading from a script, but yeah, I think it was better. I agree with that.
Okay. I'll be honest. This week there was a lot of interesting games. Damn,
there's a lot of interesting things that happened.
I could talk about the Louisville Wake Forest, but who cares? You know, there's just things where it's like.
All right, I'm going to grab my grub.
Yeah, go. I'll start off a little Ohio State. Yeah. Okay. Ohio State, Penn State. Ohio State with a. I don't even really know how to exactly describe this, but the final score says 44-31. And I think that says a lot actually about how this game goes, or at least how Ohio State is when you also compare the score at the start of the fourth quarter. So, okay. Ohio State, Penn State. First things I just want to say, this is the best Penn State team. Going in this week, I thought this, and I think I'm correct. This is the best Penn State team you'll see all year in a game. I know they crapped on Auburn, you could say that, but the Penn State team that Ohio State played was not the same Penn State team that Michigan played. That I don't know. You get my point, okay? Penn State, that's the best performance you're going to get out of them. They were up for that game clearly, and of course, I'm not going to lie to you, I was shitting my pants in the third quarter. So when Penn State scored on that long I guess we can call it a bullshit drive, but like then again, Ohio State had multiple opportunities to stop it with Eichenberg on the edge and stuff. But when Penn State scored in that long drive, end of the third, start of the fourth, to go up 21-16, I wasn't concerned we were going to lose to Penn State, but the only thing I could think to myself is this Michigan game is going to be a slugfest. All right, that's the only thing I could think about. However, the way Ohio State responded just played with my emotions. It screwed with everything I thought I knew about Ohio State this year, like what CJ Stroud, Ryan Day was. It changed everything I thought. So I kind of want Everett to be back for. I'm actually going to wait for Everett to be back for this specific stat. Okay, Everett, perfect timing. What I was just saying, the way Ohio State played, I'm not gonna lie, I was scared shitless when they went down 21-16. Not that we were going to lose to Penn State, but I thought the Michigan game, I'm now very, very DEFCON 5 about that game when that happened. But the way Ohio State responded just showed a lot to me about Ohio State. CJ Stroud, Ryan Day, even, who was calling an interesting game from my perspective, going into that last bit of time. So, okay, Penn State goes up 21-16, and Everett, this is what I'm waiting for you on. In 6 plays and 69 seconds of game time. All right, perfect number, perfect position. Ohio State scored 2 touchdowns, recovered a fumble, and went 99 yards in 6 plays, 69 seconds. The game went from 21-16 Penn State with all the momentum on Penn State's side. Everything was going Penn State's way, to 30-21 Ohio State in 69 seconds of game time. The best way I could describe how I was feeling, it was like the greatest drug of all time. It was like, actually there is no feeling to describe that, just for any sports fan, when your team just, it's looking grim. Like, you guys, you're considering like, oh shit, like we might lose this game, and they just turn it the fuck around like nothing happens. Like,
light switch.
It just played with my emotions. It played with me.
This is what I'm gonna say though. Even if that didn't happen, let's still say Ohio State wins that game, right? But let's say that it's by a close margin, like they win by 3 or something like that. I still think that I wouldn't be concerned, and I still think it's a quality win, because the fact that Penn State team, it's a good team. It's probably they're probably their toughest, one of their 2 toughest opponents the entire year, so they're gonna play harder, right?
I was also saying that before. This is the best Penn State team you'll see all year.
I didn't
hammer that point home last week, but Penn State was up for this game. Let's just say they had this one.
And we were talking about this before, earlier today, but just the fact that, and I know I've said this in the NFL, like a win's a win. I don't care if it's against a shitty team or a good team, and if both of them are by 3, I'm going to take it. And we, said that it doesn't necessarily apply that way in college football with the top teams. However, like for Ohio State in the Big Ten, any of those upper echelon Big Ten teams,
I think it more so just has to apply more to college football because they're subjective rankings. Like, I think it just does just naturally matter a little bit more. Or, I mean, like that's where I'm coming from, where it's like NFL, it's
I agree with that, because there's also
no opinion goes into those rankings.
There's also way more teams, but I still think that those upper teams in the Big Ten, so Michigan, well, I was gonna say Michigan State, but not that. Penn State, Minnesota sometimes if they feel like it. Wisconsin,
Iowa,
every blue moon, obviously Michigan, Purdue if they feel like it.
No, okay, all right, stop. You're embarrassing. Yeah. You're embarrassing our conference. Stop, man. But okay. I get what you mean. But like Penn State, just the way they lost to Michigan, giving up 400 yards on the ground, was just amazing to me. Like, that just, in my opinion, told us a lot about Penn State and told us a lot about Michigan. So Ohio State in this game, at the end of the day, they ran for 98 yards on 26 carries, but 41 yards came on one play. So take that away. Ohio State, 57 yards, 25 carries.
Y'all's run blocking is not the same.
It's horrible. It's horrible. And our right guard, Matt Jones, terrible. He is injured. He's banged up. And our left guard, Donovan Jackson, I'm pretty sure he's a redshirt freshman or true sophomore. He's just like not game ready yet. He's just a little.
I'm interested to see how you guys fare against Michigan. I still think you're going to claw out a victory, but the big thing that goes into that game, especially, is prep. It's how you prep. Like, I don't care if your run game sucks, if your pass game's good, if your run defense is good, you can win that game.
They're still good. Well, the thing about their run offense, I think they can clean it up and fix it. Not saying to a dominant level, but to a somewhat serviceable level against Michigan. Like that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I know I've seen what they've been the last 2 weeks. They're not a dominant run game. Like I was convinced they were early in the season. Like, no, they are not. But I do still think they have time to become serviceable enough to at least put CJ in 3rd and 4s. Like to pick up a 3rd and 1. Like those are the specific running situations. That's where I think like they can still pick it up. And
I think it's also
needs to get healthy.
I think it's also impressive how well CJ Stroud is doing with a really limited run game. Like there's no
yes. I'm going to be honest though. Like I don't get like I was a lineman, but I mean, they can't run block, but their pass blocking is fucking like CJ Stroud has so much time to throw. He has so much time. And a lot of that comes onto their tackles.
Hey man, I know a thing or two about pass blocking too, just saying.
Yeah, I mean, you were a former center.
I was a former center.
But yeah, like Ohio State, there's a lot of things. But did this game go the way I expected or hoped?
No.
What I was saying last week? No. Last week I said I want them to be under 200 passing yards and under 80 rushing. Did that happen? God, no. But I am happy with how they responded in the fourth quarter, going down 21-16 on the road in
being able to respond
on Penn State's season this year. Like
being able to respond in enemy territory in a stadium that is loud in Big Ten country.
That's a top 5 hostile environment. And I know it wasn't the whiteout, but still, it's fucking Penn State. I don't care if it was big news.
Being able to come back
that's a
down,
hard-ass place to play.
I would say is really impressive. And I know that you're not playing in Michigan this year, but I would say that looks good.
No, it's a good look. That game being in Columbus helped. Like the home and away matters so much. Like for these big time games, it matters so much. But okay. Ohio State.
Right,
I'm happy that they were forced to nut up or shut up, and then they show why they're dominant in the fourth quarter. And so yeah, what they do, they nut up and shut up. So last thing I want to say, shout out to JT Tuimoloau. I probably butchered that, but hopefully I got that right. This man, Everett, hear this out. 2 sacks, 3 TFLs, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery on the fumble force, 2 interceptions, 1 of those for a pick 6, and another pass breakup, which led to an interception. Now, a lot of people, I was kind of surprised how an overwhelmingly large amount of people were saying most dominant defensive performance of all time in a single game for a defensive player. I was surprised how many people were like saying that. Like obviously the Ndamukong Suh Big 12 championship game, in terms of being a D tackle and dominating, like at D tackle, what Ndamukong Suh, like they should put that in literally fucking like dictionaries on what a defensive tackle is. Like they should put that
I want to
and film. But this is what I'm saying, JTT in terms of impacting a game with such magnitude plays and just filling up the stat board like that for a defensive end, that was the most impressive shit I've ever seen. At the minimum for an Ohio State player ever in a single game.
I think also with him becoming a breakout player this past week, more teams are going to take their precautions for him more specifically, and that's going to open up lanes for other defensive players
And
on
the
the line.
thing is, like, I'll be honest, going into this game, there was two other much older DNs on Ohio State, Javonte John Baptiste and Zach Harrison, who, in my opinion, were really, really playing extremely well past couple of weeks. And now if JT is going to get a bunch of attention, those guys have this opportunity to really open up and step up right now. So 100% I agree with that. But this guy, JT, I have a quick little backstory. He was the number one recruit in the 2020 high school class. So this guy is a true sophomore, not draft eligible, but number one recruit in the 2020 high school class. And this guy was literally like the last, maybe not the last actual player, but the last big name notable player to sign in that class. He waited past signing day. He didn't sign till I think July 4th, on 4th of July, 2020. And he picks Ohio State. And oh my God, am I happy that Ohio State got this man. Like Ohio State, a lot of people, other fans were clowning them. Ohio State would show up whenever the kid would come to Columbus or whatever they're going out to meet him. They'd show up in full Hawaiian shirts, everything, like trying to like
that's kind of lit.
Go they're bought into him, like literally doing whatever it takes. But it's like, I don't care. Like that's why all these players are going to Ohio State, because they make them feel welcome and they show that we will adapt to you and make the situation fit for you. So I mean, thank you for pointing that out, other fans, how good Ohio State is at recruiting. Thanks. But yeah, I'm so happy Ohio State got this guy, and he hasn't necessarily, well, I think he's actually shown a lot of flashes, and he might not be showing it in the sack stat board, but he was pressuring the quarterback hard, and it finally paid off and showed, and now the whole world knows about him. And he got the LeBron James endorsement. So that helps a lot. But Everett, I have a question for you. In the first half, you texted me, and I quote, "Damn, y'all's defense is boo-boo cheeks." So I want to hear from. So in my opinion, this was before the JTT shit. But
yes, this was before the JTT.
In my opinion, even when you texted that, I didn't think the defense was playing that fucking bad.
To be fair, I had seen a total of like maybe 2 drives when I sent you that text. I turned on the game. I had just woken up and the game was on. So I turned it on. And the first drive that I see a corner just get waxed, absolutely waxed by a wide receiver. The wide receiver is booty ass naked.
So yeah, one thing I wanted to say, the secondary has too many question marks. That like really to me was like that Parker Washington. Holy shit, that guy! Oh my God, Parker Washington. God damn. That guy can play some football. But I mean, they just have a glaring issue at corner, in my opinion. There's like Denzel Burke, first 4 weeks. That's who we thought was going to be the guy. Was just playing horrible. Cam Brown was good first 4 weeks. Then he gets hurt. Cam Brown comes back and he's getting picked on against Michigan State. Then J.K. Johnson, when Cam Brown's in, J.K.'s playing pretty good. And then last week, J.K.'s getting mossed every single play. There's just inconsistency in the secondary. I don't know what the hell's going on. And so that to me is the big glaring problem. But if these DNs can step up into shape and just start becoming game like wreckers, Everett, then it can make up for the poor secondary. It can make up for
that was a big problem in the Penn State game. Like obviously when the defensive line in the trenches started playing well, the secondary wasn't as problematic, but because that's not always going to be the case, and it was exposed in that game. They really, the DB room today, when they're going through the film from last game,
rough Monday.
Rough
Monday.
Rough Monday
morning practice. All right. All I'm saying, JK, I'm so sorry, brother. I know you were booting.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the NFL.
Just last thing I want to say, I just want to see fix up the run game, like the pass shit, whatever. They can still win with their pass defense, but the run game just at least needs to be serviceable. So that's why I got on that. Okay. Right. Ever before we get to the NFL, I'm sorry. Just couple quick points I had to make.
Okay.
First thing, I want to hear your opinion on the Kansas State 48-0 molly-whopping of Oklahoma State. A 48-point shutout is actually fucking nuts, especially for a Big 12 game. Okay. And Everett, I didn't say this, but the media says it. and Kansas State lost to Tulane. How can you get shut out by them? So Everett, with a bye week for Tulane, I know you had time to watch these games. What did you think?
The anti-Tulane media is very much live, and it is very, very well right now. Now, I knew K-State was going to play well. Obviously, I've seen them up close. I did not know that Adrian Martinez was out, but whoever they have, that rookie quarterback, that freshman, he's very good. He's very good. Oklahoma State. Now, I don't understand how the AP poll has Oklahoma State still ranked above Tulane, by the way. They're still ranked. They're ranked up one above us, I think. Not entirely sure. But I at least saw one poll where that was the case. And I don't understand how you could get blown out 48-0 and still be above the team that beat the team that blew you out. And I understand that I am being hypocritical when I say that something about the transitive property, but there's also something to say when you get blown out by a ranked team 48-0, and you drop a donut.
Yeah, 100%.
With that said, though, I think K-State is a very good team. They're very underrated. And I could see them making a push for the Big 12 title this year. I think that I know they lost to TCU, right? But I think it's really hard to beat a team twice. Prep, obviously, you can do it. It's not impossible. It's not.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, TCU is really not that good.
So I think that given the chance, K-State's going to want their revenge, and they could come back and beat TCU for the chip. And if that's the case, it's going to be a really interesting bowl season, a really interesting playoff picture. But K-State looks great.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, the Big 12 is out of the playoff race.
That's what I agree, but the media doesn't necessarily agree with that.
No,
I just want to.
I think they do actually, Everett. Like
I've seen
what, like 8.
I've seen TCU in the playoff pictures. But with that said, I just want to remind everybody.
From who? Actually, I'm curious.
I at least saw one from RG3. But I do just want to remind everybody.
RG3 Big 12 truther.
Tulane did beat K-State. Not gonna ask for respect because you know what, the disrespect you're giving us is just gonna fuel us further, and we're gonna show you why y'all are fucking idiots. But thank you.
Now, last thing I want to say just about Tulane is now, Everett, you started that off saying we are wildly disrespectful for the media, then it finished.
Yes, we are.
But don't hype us up because we don't want to hear that shit.
No, look, if you wanna hype us up, please do.
Confused. What do you want?
No, I mean, I would love to see the hype, but I know I'm not getting it, and that's why I said just continue it, because no matter how much I say that it's wildly disrespectful, nobody's gonna care. So with that point being,
okay.
I mean.
All right. I thought we were gonna get into NFL, but I'm sorry, we gotta talk about this too. Michigan State tunnel fight. So I have not. I know that there was recently like a full 4-minute video of it posted. I have not seen the whole thing, and I probably should have before talking on this.
It does not look good.
But this is before watching that, this is my opinion on the matter. First things first. Fuck you, Sparty. Fuck Michigan State. Mel Tucker, you run a shitty you have a shitty culture for your program, shitty team culture and everything. And Michigan State, the fact that they were like ganging up on that Michigan player, like 15 versus 1, like swinging helmets at him and stuff, that's just completely unacceptable.
He's their starting corner, by the way.
Unacceptable behavior. Completely unacceptable. I don't care if he was talking shit. I don't care the rivalry or whatever. I don't care the big brother, little brother chirp, whatever.
Dude could be talking shit. Dude could be talking shit. Dude could be
someone. You can't.
Dude could be skipping around through the lineup, giving high fives to fans. Does not give you the authority to beat him with a helmet. Like,
yeah, and also it's just 15-on-1. It's just some like bitch made shit. If there was gonna be a fight to break out and it's like 5-on-5, all right, let's go at it, boys. I don't really have that big of a problem with that. Like that happens like solid amount, but it never escalates to a point where it's 15-on-1 hitting dudes the helmets. And so this is another thing. So immediately when I like first heard about this, I'm just naturally inclined to hate on Michigan. So immediately I was like, okay, Michigan, and there's these fucking fights in the tunnels with like every single big game at Michigan ever. Like it's Ohio State, whenever they're there, there's fights. There was one last year. 2 weeks ago, Penn State was fighting with Michigan in the tunnel. Like it's just a thing when it's against big games, like that happens. However, you would never see a fight escalate like that against Penn State or Ohio State ever. You'd never see it get to that point. Only with scum Michigan State could a fight escalate to a level like that where you're swinging helmets at players. Only for a Michigan game. Like that's the only teams. Those are the only teams that could do it. But I just did want to point out though, this is a recurring thing out of Michigan, but still that's no way to respond if you're Michigan State.
well, the tunnel, obviously, when you have two teams and they're hot at each other, right? It's a big rivalry game. Any game in the Big Ten, right? That kind of rivalry game is more what I meant. You're gonna have chatter. You're gonna have people going jogging at each other, right?
And I have no problem with that. It's great content.
That's
I
fine. We saw
shit.
last year Ohio State, Michigan at
Like, I mean,
halftime.
we lost
We
last
saw
year, but like I love that shit. Like I live.
we saw jogging, but we have never seen somebody, an entire team, physically assault another player.
Yeah,
And I
that was
understand
just
like it's close quarters,
bitch made out
but
of
still,
Michigan
like
State.
what, like come on, like you're really that poor of a sport? Like you're going to beat up another team because they beat you? Like you shouldn't be playing D1 if that's the case. Like you shouldn't be able to
Another
handle
thing,
that
it's
kind of
just like
chatter.
for the past years, you know how much shit Michigan State has been talking to Michigan. It's like obviously you're gonna get this back. Like Michigan is the king of holding grudges and giving you everything back in return once they're finally back on top. They give it all. Trust me, I know it better than anyone else. I know it. And you know what? Like the way they responded, just poor sports, just poor fucking sports, poor behavior. But yeah, unless you had anything else, though, those are my opinions on. Okay, so last thing, college football. This is my top 6 of the week. I'm going to be giving out my college football rankings now. We're about to be in playoff season. So I'll say my top 6. Maybe I only put the 4 of them in the clip, but number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Tennessee. Number 3, Georgia. Number 4, Michigan. Number 5, Alabama. Number 6, Clemson.
Okay.
I do not have the 7 through the rest written out yet, but those are my firm top 6.
All righty. Okay.
Okay. NFL.
Let's move on over to the NFL as we are running long on this episode already. All right. Let's get the NFL recap. Little bit more improv-y, a little bit less script ready. We ready?
Give me like 30 seconds. Come up with get my brain right. Say something real quick. Let me look over this real quick. I'll make it better. But yeah.
Over the weekend, this ties into both college football and this ties into the NFL. It's a nice transition. There are only 2 rookie wide receivers with at least 2 games of 100 plus receiving yards. Do you know who those 2 rookie wide receivers happen to be? Your Ohio State Buckeyes, Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, coming into the league and taking it by storm.
Yeah. I'll be honest. Although we're gonna get into this later, but although the Jets lost, Garrett Wilson was playing some pretty damn good football against Bill Belichick's Patriots, Everett. So hey, that's my baby boy balling against Bill Belichick. So I mean, shit. What can I say, Everett? That was very
nice.
fun for me to see. As an Ohio
They looking nice. They looking nice. Okay, all right, we ready?
Yeah, we are ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
Lamar Jackson marching to Tampa Bay, picked up a big-time win last Thursday. Russell Wilson definitely spent his flight back from London doing more workouts in the aisle after their win over the Jags. The Vikings pulled away in a back-and-forth battle, and maybe Kyler wouldn't have thrown that late pick if Codd didn't get released last Friday. Bill Belichick reminded the New York Jets who's their daddy in the AFC East. Kyle Shanahan reminded the Rams who's their daddy in the NFC West, and the Buffalo Bills easily handled the now 3-5 Green Bay Packers.
I think that was 30 on the dot.
I'll be honest, when I was saying that, I kind of thought I could have included more material and started speaking a bit slower, but whatever, that's okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I want to. Well, first and foremost,
let's talk.
Tomorrow is the trade deadline. Tomorrow is the trade deadline.
Actually, let's talk about that instead.
For Thursday's episode, we will be recording right after the end of the trade deadline, I presume. We obviously pre-record Thursday's episode either on Tuesday, Wednesday. Most likely will be tomorrow. So we'll see what happens there. So far, not much going on. Just have Roquan Smith out of the Bears getting traded to the Ravens for a second and a fifth.
And interesting. Quinn going to
Oh, that's right.
Where'd he go? Where'd they trade him? I'll look it up. But yeah,
I don't remember where he goes.
But anyways, Bears are offloading.
They are sellers. They are sellers.
Robert Quinn to the Eagles.
Oh, that's right. I also, by the way, I don't know if I said this last week, but I think I texted you this, that I don't think Robert Quinn, like that. I don't think that that's a win-win for either team. Like, I think that the Bears didn't get much in return for him, and I don't think he is actually that good of a player this year. He's an older player. Obviously, he had a great season last year, but in the system that he's been in,
I don't really have much opinion on him. Haven't cut the tape on him. I do know he had 18.5 last year.
I just like this year he just looks like he's taking a massive step back, and age is kind of getting up there. So I'm just surprised. I'm just kind of surprised. But with that said, let's get on the Vikings. I've tweeted this out a couple of times now, actually.
So okay, well, just real quick, I just want to say, because I feel like you might get into this in the NFL. I have learned 100%. I realized after watching the Chargers that a win is a fucking win. Okay. And covering the spread is even more impressive, which the Vikings did. So, all right, go on.
Yes. So
just want you to know where I'm coming from.
There have been a lot of people who either claim to be Vikings fans or just are football fans, claim to be football fans. And they've said that the Vikings are a very fraudulent 6-1. Like, now that the Giants have lost, now that the Jets, I guess, have lost, now that those teams have lost, the Vikings are the last remaining fraudulent 6-1 team. And to that, I say, you have not watched a single second of Vikings football. If you had watched Vikings football, yes, the Vikings have had close wins versus bad teams, versus multiple bad teams. But the way that this team plays and the way this team is built is not to blow teams out. They never blow teams out. It could be against the Texans. It could be against the Chiefs. And if they win those games, they're winning them by the same margin. They could win both games by 3 points. And those are two drastically different teams on different levels of the spectrum. Does that not
concern you a little bit, though, that there's like only one path to win for the Vikings?
It doesn't. Like you said, a win is a win. And obviously, and I've said this thousands of times, and I've talked to you about it, and I have tweeted out the Vikings defense is a liability. Obviously, we get pressure, but the secondary in shell coverage, which is basically just zone with two high safeties, right? It's off, man. It is not working well. And D-Hop exposed the living crap out of it last week, and it's just that needs to have that needs a little bit of help, and I think they need to start playing a little bit more man-to-man. With that said, though, I'll give it to Patrick Peterson. He's off to one of the best starts for a cornerback this season so far. Zadarius Smith's
was a man on a mission.
Zadarius Smith's a potential defensive player of the year right now, leading the NFL with 8.5 sacks.
My goodness, I had no idea. Jesus.
By the way, the Packers are still paying him $11 million for this season. So thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Packers fans, for not only saying that Zadarius Smith sucks, you can have him. He won a Super Bowl week 1. Please and thank you. I thank you for giving us your best player this year. But yeah, I mean, the defense scares me. The offense is a little stagnant. I'm hoping that the Vikings will not necessarily shell out a ton this trade deadline, because they're still, like Kwesi, our GM, has said, is a competitive rebuild. But getting maybe another receiver or a tight end, because Irv Smith's now out for a couple weeks, maybe like Gesicki, and
I'm
getting
not sure
some.
if they could get Gesicki.
Getting
a vital part of that Dolphins team, right?
He's on the trade block.
Really?
But
I see him trying his gritty every week in the end zone. Like he literally scores.
He's on the trade
week.
block. But with that also said, like maybe getting some secondary help could also be useful. I like that concerns me, but I don't necessarily think I'm concerned. Like a win is a win in the NFL. If you're winning it by 3 points, I don't really think it matters by what team. Your prep is still the same for every team. So I don't really think that margin is that big of a deal when it comes to that. Like if I'm beating a team that's 1-5 by 3 points, and I'm coming into the next week and I'm beating a team that's 6-1 the next week by the same margin, I don't care. Like it doesn't matter to me, because I know my team can pull it off, and it could be a close game either way. They just play up or down, and they win.
Okay. All right. Like, do you have any concerns though that you might be playing down to your competition though? Maybe it's
No,
a,
yeah.
maybe it's a
I
team
mean, like
thing.
like
They
I
just
like
don't give
I
a
I have
fuck
said,
some
our
weeks.
DC Ed Donatel, our DC Ed Donatel definitely bets on the other team's spread every game, and that's why it's a close game.
Point shaving. He's definitely point shaving.
So somebody might want to look into that. But I don't necessarily think that it's a bad thing. Last year, if you asked me last year, I'm going to say yes, because we're losing really close games. But that switch that we needed last year to win those close games, because last year we had I think 8 1 point or like one possession losses on like the last minute or two. It was a lot. It was like most of our games. I think most of our losses.
It's improvement from last year. You are right about that.
I think that being able to do that, that's why I'm not as concerned about it, because if we're winning those close games, that also gives you a little bit of an edge when you're coming into games in a different environment where you need to come back and win.
One thing that I was impressed with the Vikings though, I'm not really sure in weeks past, but at least for this game, it's like the second Arizona either took the lead or like really got close on it to it, immediate touchdown next drive. It was like immediately go down. And so
the offensive play calling
this game was nice.
This game was the best game of the season since the Green Bay game. It was the most like full kind of game.
Absolutely dominated. 173 rushing, 208 passing.
Now the defense folded here and there, and I mean it was difficult sometimes for the offense and defense to click at the same time. But they figured it out, and I think the offensive play calling was a lot better this week. Defensive play calling, I think they were actually playing man, like whatever they were doing in the first quarter, and a little bit in the second quarter was working really well. And then they kind of went away from that and they started playing shell and zone coverage again, and that's where the problems began.
Just real quick, I just want to point out Adam Schefter, just with a classic mistake on a tweet. He said Bengals cornerback Chidobe Awuzie has a right knee and has been declared out.
Yes.
Yeah. I also have a right knee. I have not been declared out though. But thank you for that, Adam. But yeah, sorry. I just saw that and that made me chuckle. All right.
We're getting to it before he edited it, by the way, because he just edited it 30 seconds ago.
No, I did just take a screenshot of it though. I have receipts. But yeah,
no, that's a clip. Yeah. But yeah, no, and looking at it, look, like if we look at the playoffs right now, okay, I can see the Vikings making the Super Bowl, but there's an if with that because of the route that needs to be taken, because of the teams that are in the NFC, obviously already lost to the Eagles and playing in Philadelphia in the NFC Championship game. Not ideal for the Vikings in history.
Hey, but I mean, we are also already on record saying,
but we are here to right the ship.
Brutal fashion in the NFC Championship game. Like we already know how this season's going to play out. But like Everett, explain to me why that won't happen. Like, Tell me
like
why
I said,
the prophecy is wrong.
Vikings have already played in Philly this year. Okay. Vikings have already played in Philly this year. If they go back there, I feel like it's going to be a different turnaround. That was also their first away game of the season with a new coach, new system, first time for that coach on an away game. Like there's so many different pieces that go into that, right?
I don't. Yeah, no.
Now with that said, obviously if we're going off of the current situation, the Vikings are the 2 seed, right? They're going to play the 49ers. Out of all the teams beside the Eagles, the 49ers scare me the most with their versatility, with Deebo Samuel, with Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Nick Bosa, right? Like that's scary. Like and
how do you give an Ayuk credit? I wouldn't have, but yeah.
We have gone into San Francisco before. We've lost in the playoffs, and I think maybe being in Minnesota would hopefully make a difference. And hopefully different scheme will make a difference. Obviously, Shanahan versus Kevin O'Connell, like there's a little familiarity there. But I think the Vikings are going to pick up the 1 seed. I think the Eagles are going to start falling off at one point. Having the Vikings home field advantage is very credible. But I'm also thinking in the moment that I almost don't want the Vikings to have a bye week. Obviously, coming out of this bye week, things looked really good, so possibly. But I just don't know. We have to see when we get there. But
hey,
I think
also the Eagles got to get to the NFC Championship game as well. So I mean, hey,
also that's a good point. People are assuming
only
that
team with a bye now, right?
Yeah. People are assuming that the Eagles are just going to walk through the playoffs this year, and I don't necessarily think that's going to be true. Even if they win, they might have a really hard fought victory.
Yeah,
don't forget last year. Tom Brady
worst
ended.
Thing possible are the Eagles going undefeated. Then we know they're not winning the Super Bowl. Like that's the worst.
Don't forget last year. Tom Brady destroyed Jalen Hurts' season in the wild card round. So, but that's my little take. I think that
yeah, I mean, you guys are.
There's still disrespect on the Vikings, and I don't think that's going to go away.
3, 4 ahead of 3.5 ahead of the Packers. I don't
know. They lost yesterday. I think we might be 4.5.
You guys have played 7 games. They have played 8. So like
we have a tiebreaker on them too, though.
No, I know, but I like in terms of the game number ahead.
It's game number +1 because if we're tied, we get tiebreaker, or maybe it's a half.
For just like the games ahead, games behind. Like you don't get a point for a tiebreaker.
You get a half point. You get a half point for a tiebreaker.
But you're not in a tiebreaker scenario with the Pack. Like you get.
Yeah, I'm saying if the games ahead means that
they're 3.5 behind you.
Okay. All right.
I'm just saying that's a big ass leap. Like.
Okay, I've got a question.
Last day of Kirktober, but.
Well, Vikings, by the way, in Kirktober, 4-0 this year in Kirktober.
You were right.
Watch out next year.
Can't wait for October 2023.
2 things. One really quick point before we get into Chargers, because I got something for the Chargers. Matt Ryan's time as a Colts quarterback lasted exactly 28 weeks and 3 days.
No, it didn't.
He got removed 28 weeks and 3 days into his start as the Colts quarterback.
There's no way. There is no way that this man can't escape it. Like he's actually cursed for life. That like they had a preview of a 28-3.
I'm now also looking at it. Some people are saying that he was 31 weeks, but 31 weeks as the QB1 for the Colts. 28 plus 3 also equals 31. Just want to throw that one out there. Case for fact checking.
I mean, come on, man. Like that is just brutal.
That is a terrible situation to be in.
Matt Ryan, I feel for you, brother. I am so sorry.
Okay. Here's my take. I can't remember if the Chargers were on bye week this week, correct?
Oh yeah, and boy was I happy that they didn't play this weekend.
Okay.
What's your?
There's video evidence of the Chargers calling a play. So OC Joe Lombardi calling a play directly taken from Madden, route from route, targeted player for targeted player, taken directly from Madden.
So this is my instant response to that was like, okay, yes, the play. I'm not gonna say yeah. Okay, the play was taken from Madden. Now I don't feel like I even need to say this. Obviously, Madden takes the games from the NFL, but just they run mesh like fucking 80% of their pass plays. Like that's what I'm more so pissed. I'm not mad at the play itself. It's the lack of variety.
Oh, this is cross. This is cross.
I'm not even gonna get to that. This is another thing. Okay, the Chargers need to sign depth wide receivers. Like when Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, like Jalen Guyton got hurt, sirens go off because we're in urgency zone talking about the Chargers receiver room right now.
DEFCON 5.
When all those guys get hurt, what do the Chargers do? They call up practice squad receivers Michael Bandy to fill in their shoes. That's
Look,
not
honestly, if I were you at this point in the season, I'm almost hoping
who's played more than 50 snaps in the NFL.
If I'm you, by the way that the season is going to this point, I almost want the Chargers season to not go well because Sean Payton has come out and said the Chargers are his top destination to go to if the job is available. And if I am the GM of the Chargers, if I am the Chargers owner, I'm telling Brandon Staley to get the fuck out of town because I'm getting Sean Payton out here. On top of that, if you don't play well, you're going to get a top pick. Guess who you're going to take with that top pick? JSN. You're getting JSN wide receiver help.
I also another thing about JSN. He's definitely not coming back for Ohio State this year. He consulted an outside doctor for an opinion on his hamstring. He ain't playing for the Buckeyes no more. It was great watching you, brother. I loved you in that Rose Bowl game. But no, like JSN's draft stock might drop a little bit, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he went like 17th, which is Chargers range.
They're right in there.
And
they're right in there.
I mean, last year I didn't expect like Olave to go 11, but I mean, shit. Maybe.
Hey! Let your draft expert analyze this.
I totally forgot. You're the draft expert. Totally.
Let me get back to you. Forgot. But that was just like my take.
You had such a phenomenal track record with the draft last year.
I know
how good you are. Like,
People forget.
Damn. I'm sorry for forgetting about your performance. But yeah, no. Okay. This is something that I said earlier that I said we definitely got to talk about, and we'll probably forget. Broncos Jaguars London game. Great win for Russ. Yeah, go team or whatever. I don't care. It is officially Travis Etienne's season in Jacksonville, and the point I wanted to make is Urban Meyer. I don't give him credit for the T-Law pick because everyone on earth would have picked him, but he might have hit on the Travis Etienne first round pick. Like, I would never take a running back in the first round, but shit, Etienne, 24 carries, 156 yards. I don't even know what the receiving was, but it probably was something too. Oh yeah, Everett. That's what we're looking about. And that also ties into your player prop locks. TikTok went up of that last week. Easy winner with the ETN in the morning game.
Yeah. So our player prop locks. Let me get into that real quick. 2 for 4.
Dive into it a little bit. Everett.
2 for 4 on the week. Now obviously 50% is not great. We're still playing with numbers. That was our first week out here. Got to adjust, right? First week on the job, there's going to be a couple hiccups. But those are gone after this week. Those are gone after last week. Banged on Travis Etienne, hit it within the first quarter of the 9:30 a.m. London game slate. I know nobody was up, but great to wake up and see some units in there. That's right. I'm using unit lingo now. The lock of the day, the lock of the week, Donta Foreman over 81.5 rushing plus receiving yards. Gone. 118 yards. Lock props. We're on top of it. Check us out this next week on Saturday.
Stay dialed in for the lock props.
Prop locks.
Prop locks.
Prop
locks. All sounds like Pop Rocks, the candy. But okay, neither here nor there. All right. One other thing, spoke about a little bit in the recap, but the Patriots-Jets game, when we were making the picks last week, I was just saying there's no way that the Jets are going to be 6-2 and the Patriots are going to be 3-5. There's just no way on earth that will ever be a reality. And I was correct. Zach Wilson. Okay, this is my main point from this. After that Zach Wilson game, and after Justin Fields, who lost the Cowboys, but Justin Fields, how he's been playing the past couple of weeks, I'm just proud of and impressed of NFL Twitter for finally coming around and realizing Justin Fields is in the worst possible situation.
Yeah.
Maybe ever.
The way that I put it is,
and he has zero help.
The way that I put it is related to our pre-intro segment. Justin Fields essentially got sentenced to the wall in Game of Thrones when he got drafted by the Bears.
Oh yeah. They sentenced him to Winterfell in the wall. It's not a grim, and yeah, I mean Chicago sucks weather-wise too, and
it does suck. It's fucking cold.
It literally adds up. But yeah, they sentenced him to die. As
he
Odell
is
Beckham once said when he was traded to the Cleveland Browns from the Giants, he was sent there to die. And that's kind of what happened to Justin Fields.
Justin Fields is now a Knight of the Watch.
To death by going to the Bears. And he's making the most out of a reality where they also just announced that do not care about the season after trading away Roquan Smith.
No, they do not.
God damn it. Robert Quinn. Tough reality for him. But I'm just shocked how people have finally flipped on Zach Wilson and started being like, yeah, this dude sucks.
No, people didn't flip on Zach Wilson. Everybody has said that he sucked, but people are saying that JF1 sucked more than Zach Wilson, which I didn't agree with. I didn't agree with that. I don't think either of us agreed with that. But Zach Wilson did finally fall off, and I think everybody was just kind of waiting for it to happen.
Yeah, but Bill just reminded the Jets who's boss. I looked it up.
Close game for a while.
Bill is now 34-10 against the New York Jets all time.
Mark Sanchez,
which is just hilarious.
Mark Sanchez
is so funny. Just the
Mark
thing,
Sanchez.
Bill Belichick. There's been 44 weeks of Bill Belichick's life where he woke up every morning that week just thinking, we got the New York Jets. I'm going to New York this week. That's hilarious. Bill Belichick knows the New York Jets like the back of his cock. There's no other way. There's no other way of putting it. He knows the New York Jets like the back of his dick. There's no other way to say it than that.
That was not what I expected.
That's what I expected. But okay, last game. Actually, Bills Packers. Give me your quick 30-second fuck the Packers talk about that. Come on.
Packers might be the worst team in the NFC North this year.
Bad.
They're bad. They are
bad.
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 I am so unbelievably happy that now I get to watch Packers fandom just fall into fucking hysteria because I have people yelling at Aaron Rodgers for taking their lives away for the last 10 years, even though he won back-to-back fucking MVPs and them a Super Bowl. I have people complaining about the future when they've had 30 years of quarterbacks that have been all-pro, Hall of Fame quarterbacks. I don't want to hear shit, cheeseheads. The fact that the Packers just suck ass is a monumental moment in the history of the NFL. It's a monumental moment for the NFC North. We are free. We are free. It is a great feeling.
Of Aaron Rodgers have been released. You're finally all free. Minnesota, Chicago, and Detroit fans can all unite, and finally you guys can party.
It's interesting that I will say this. So it's interesting that the last time the Vikings played this well was when, if we want to say 2017, even though they were off to the last time they were off to a 6-1 start was 2009. 2017 was the year that Aaron Rodgers broke his collarbone. That's the year the Packers sucked. When the Packers suck, obviously correlation, Vikings play well. The Packers are going to suck for a long time going forward. And you know what that means? The Vikings are going to be good. So just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. So that just great news for the Vikings. Packers post Aaron Rodgers. My God.
Oh, he's retiring at the end of this year.
Yeah. I'm more confident.
And he's leaving the Packers. What if you know how he was disgruntled?
I actually truly believe that Aaron Rodgers will retire before Tom Brady. 100% now. 100%.
Well, now that he got divorced with Giselle, yeah.
100%.
Got nothing else to do. But you know how Aaron Rodgers was disgruntled at the end of last year?
Would retire after this season. After
you know how you think he's going to go to another team? Tom Brady's going to leave the Bucks.
He can
inverse trade. What if at the trade deadline it says Tom Brady?
He no longer the opinion of Giselle doesn't matter. So he can go wherever the fuck.
Fuck it.
Best winning situation. I don't care where
it's an inverse. It's an inverse of the trade.
Minnesota, Everett. Would you take him in with open arms?
He is a Minnesota boy, by the way. He's got relatives in Minnesota.
Would you take him in with open arms?
It's Tom fucking Brady. Yeah, I'm taking.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, whole inverse trade of what we said earlier in the season. Instead of Devontae Adams to the Bucks, fuck it, trade deadline. Tom Brady divorces Giselle, trade to the Raiders, gets back with Josh McDaniels, runs the league.
No, yeah, 100p. But okay. Last game I want to talk about before we wrap up. My game of the week, everyone's game of the week, Niners at Rams. Niners just step on their throat second half, just end the game, shut it down.
Levi Stadium South.
Just keep in mind, Everett, Deebo Samuel didn't play.
Out.
We don't know the full potential of this Niner offense with him and McCaffrey and Kittle.
Interestingly enough, I think if Trey Lance doesn't get hurt,
they play better with Garoppolo. If Trey Lance on the field,
if Trey Lance doesn't get hurt, they don't have CMC right now.
Oh no, yeah, I agree with that as well. Yeah, they wouldn't have felt the need to go that. Obviously, they felt like they needed a rushing attack. I mean, obviously McCaffrey, but I don't even the Deebo package with him and McCaffrey at running. Holy shit, Everett. Who do you?
That's why I said I'm scared.
Pick your poison.
That's why I'm scared of playing them. I do not want to play the 49ers in the playoffs.
Terrifying. And they go on the road and they don't care, man. We remember what happened last year when they beat the Packers. They don't care.
Yeah, but Lambeau is also Levi Stadium North. So it is what it is.
But no, I was just uberly impressed with the Niners. And also another thing I want to say, I was very impressed first by the Rams, how they were playing right at the start of the game, getting quick, easy, pitch and catch throws, getting Cup involved and shit. I was very impressed. But when the Niners needed to buckle down, Nick Bosa just started, and the boys just went to work. They were just eating, fucking Ebu comes in his face. They're just everywhere on defense. And the Niners pass rush, it's just they match up way too well with the Rams in terms of the Rams' weaknesses.
The Rams O-line is just terrible too.
They match up just way too well for the Niners. So yeah.
Okay, with that, we've been riffing for a while now. I'm gonna wrap up the episode because I know if I let Grant keep talking, we are gonna go for another 25 minutes. As much as that would be great, Grant does have to edit this directly after this. So I'm going to do us all a favor and wrap her up here. But thank you guys so much for watching, listening. Please rate us 5 stars.
Also, Cooper Kupp, I'm pretty sure, didn't get banked up.
No, he's fine. Okay, he's fine. They said he's fine. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching, listening. Please rate us 5 stars. Go follow us on Spotify. Follow us on TikTok at WaterboyPod, on Twitter at WaterboyPod. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We are banging up there as well. That is at Waterboy Pod on YouTube as well. Make sure to listen to us on Delta Airlines. I know Thanksgiving's coming up. It's a great time to travel. Share us with your family. Thanksgiving, you're watching football. Might as well start off the day with your water boys, right? So give us a shout out there. With that
thing I also love when you're going out take the dog for a walk, throw in a pod. Throw on a pod.
Throw on the water boy pod.
Throw on the pod. Come on.
You know, dogs like playing with water.
Play it for your
They'll
dog
like the
too.
water boy pod
They'll
too.
like it.
With that, thank you guys so much for listening. Waterboys out.